here's my ultimate guide of how to use DistroKid for beginners. I'm gonna make this video very easy to follow along, very step-by-step process from you, let's say, not even having a DistroKid account, all the way up to you uploading music, releasing it, getting on Spotify. I'm gonna show you a lot of features within DistroKid and a lot more. And after watching this video, you're gonna know everything you need to know when it comes to using DistroKid. Number one, Pre-DistroKid. So what do you need before even signing up on DistroKid? Now, of course, you're releasing music. So first, you need your music, whether it's a single, an album, EP, whatever. Secondly, your album artwork. I will talk a bit more in depth about these a bit later in the video, but of course you need them. Secondly, your tax information. DistroKid does ask for tax information because, of course, if you're making money from your music, you're going to be taxed on it. Keep that in mind. And then thirdly, some type of payment method because, like most services out there, DistroKid does have a cost to it. So, with that being said, let's talk about the different plans with DistroKid and talk about which one you should pick. Number two, the plans. Now, there's mainly three different plans. One, the musician plan, the most basic one, is $23 a year for unlimited uploads, which is pretty awesome. So if you want to upload and go crazy every single day for 365 days out of the year, one upload every day, you could do that. It is very inexpensive, especially compared to a lot of other services out there and other different competitors, right? Now, I have three different ones, like I said. Ultimate is for mainly labels. I don't think for most people this is worth it, just being blunt. For me, I have the Musician Plus account. This is $40 a year, so it's $17 extra a year. There's added features in terms of daily streaming stats, customizable release date. I don't think those are as good, especially the stats. We'll talk about stats a bit later in this video. The main thing for me is the customizable label name. The reason why is when you release music on DistroKid, your automatic label is DistroKid. Being honest, no offense to DistroKid, I find it kind of tacky. For me, I'd rather spend the extra $17 a year just to have my own custom label name, and you literally just type in a name. You can make up any name you want. It's one of those situations where you don't have to create like a website and an LLC and all this kind of stuff. You just think of a cool name. Now, for some people, they might say, hey, for 17 extra bucks a year, why not? For other people, you might say, honestly, I don't really care if my label's DistroKid. It doesn't really affect your release that much, being honest. So let's say if you're like, hey, I'm really trying to pinch pennies. I want to be as, tight as possible when it comes to my finances and everything. 23 bucks a year is perfectly fine. I think the added features here isn't really that much more worth it besides the customizable label name. Although, if you have, let's say, a couple artists, keep this in mind, let's say you release under two different artist projects, you do need the Musician Plus account right here, 2 artists or bands. With the musician account, you have 1 artist or band. For most people watching this video, I'm going to be blunt, the musician account is perfectly fine, but if you do want a customizable label name, one that's unique just to you, you can do the Musician Plus account for $17 extra a year. Number 3, uploading music. So at this point, you have everything ready to go in terms of, like, say, your album artwork, your song itself, or your songs if you're releasing an EP or an album. You have everything ready to go in terms of your plan that you selected. So now let's actually release music. Now, when it comes to this is how your DistroKid platform is going to look. I have different releases here. You can see, right? If I click show all releases, you'll see all of them. I can also see the title, what it is. Is it a single? Is it an album? So here's 11 tracks. Then I can see the artist. So for me, I release music under 2 different artists. I have Futura, which is my main project, and then the Infinite Lamb Chop, which is kind of like a side fun project of AI music. I do this more as fun experimentation to make videos for this channel. When it comes to releasing music though, let's get into it. I'm gonna go to upload and then upload music. Now I'm gonna take this step by step. There's a lot to this. I'm gonna stress that point. First off, services. These are the different services or places your music is gonna be released on. I can check and uncheck different ones if I want. One thing that I have to point out, there's a couple unique exceptions here though. First off, if you are an EDM artist, Beatport will not automatically be here. It will be at the end, which is referred to an extra or an add-on. We'll talk about that a bit later. But if you are an EDM artist and you want your music to be on Beatport, it is 10 extra bucks a month. I'm not gonna lie, a bit pricier than I'd like it to be, so $120 extra a year on top of your DistroKid membership. But if you're an EDM artist, you kind of have to do that. And for me, obviously in the beginning, I was like, oh, well, we'll see kind of what happens with my music being on Beatport. Now I make way more than $10 a month, so it kind of like offsets that cost. You got what I'm saying? But again, in the beginning, can be a little bit more expensive than you might like it to be. Then these three, at least at the exact time of this video, are automatically unchecked. The reason why is Roblox. I suggest not doing this because basically you have to do all this kind of stuff that you're not registered with a performance rights organization and a lot more. We'll talk about that later in the video. I think the Roblox isn't as worth it. You pretty much get no money from it being on Roblox, and your music cannot be in a performance rights organization, but yours should be. If you don't know what that means, we'll talk about that later, but just want to say that. The two that are worth it, though, is TikTok, Commercial Music Library, and Snapchat. When I do this, all this is saying is you need completely 100% of the publishing rights to your song. Now, if you made it yourself, you should be all set. So I'm going to click yes, and I'm going to click yes, right? Like that. Next, number of songs. Okay, so I have an album, I do 10. Okay, I have a single, I do 1. Now, in this case, I am actually going to upload a song live on camera. As you can see exactly how this all works. And in this case, I am releasing a single. Now, I'm down here. Has a single been previously released? No. Artist/band name. Now, in the beginning, like say if you're just doing this for the first time, this would actually be a text box. It would be a text box, and you can type in Joe Schmo, whatever your artist name is. Probably a better name than Joe Schmo, right? And one thing I want to say at this point especially, please, make sure you think of a creative artist name that really no one else has. And I know in this day and age, there's a lot of artist names out there, right? It's kind of difficult now, I feel like, to think of a creative artist name because there's so many artists now out there, right? More and more people are uploading music every day. There are newer and newer releases happening all the time. But you want to think about this because if later down the line you want to change your artist name, it is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. I've done videos about it. I get DMs constantly about the technicalities of changing your artist name. It's a nightmare. So think long and hard before your first release about your artist name. Trust me. So I have the Infinite Lamb Shop right here. And a lot of this is pretty straightforward. You can see. Now, in the beginning, most of this will have something like this. Artist already on Instagram. It's going to have that for these three because in the beginning, it's going to say, hey, are you already on Spotify? Are you already on Apple Music? This is all going to say no. So we're going to do no, 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 because it's your first release, right? No, no, no. Now release date. Now you can pick a custom release date if you are having the Musicians Plus account. For me, I'm just going to do today, right? Record label, Meta Music Records. This is my record label. I'm the only one on it. But like I said, you literally just type it in via text. That's how easy it is. Language, pretty straightforward. Now, let's talk about the genre. For most cases, this is not that big of a deal. You just pick the genre. Is it rock? Is it hip hop? Is it whatever? But if you are an EDM artist, in order for your release to go on Beatport, it has to be an electronic genre. So for example, let's say you do a song that's like half rock, half EDM, and you pick rock, but you want it to go on Beatport, it will not go on Beatport. You have to go to electronic first. Once you do, and this is an electronic song, by the way, I might as well mention that, now I can go to the subgenre. Now at this point, I can pick what I think might be the closest thing to it. So let's say you're doing a house record, let's say you're doing a whatever. So the song I'm releasing is kind of actually a blend of like rock and EDM. Can't really think of a good one. It's not really dubsteppy. Not really, definitely not big room. I might say hardcore, but it's, might do indie dance, honestly, maybe not indie. So this one gets kind of tricky, right? If you're doing like a house record, pretty straightforward, house. But I might do maybe, I might do functional disco because it has a little like funkiness to it. It's not full on like rock. So I'll leave it at that, right? Next, album cover. Now, one thing I want to say, when it comes to your album cover, make sure you have the rights to it. You don't want to steal another photographer's image. That has happened, and your artwork might get taken down. In addition, don't put your socials on your artwork. Basically, have the artwork itself, the title of your song or your album, and your name. That's pretty much it. Now, if like say you're really tight on money, you can go to Google Gemini. That's what I personally use to use AI to make the artwork for me. You can maybe hire somebody on Fiverr. You can do it yourself if you want. I've done videos about how to do all this on this channel. So I'll show you my album artwork. This actually was made by AI. I know not the craziest image. I feel like the background could have been a little more unique, but I kind of like how simple it is. It's almost too simple, right? And this this song I'm releasing, by the way, is called Ford Transit Connect because it's my favorite vehicle or one of my favorite vehicles. So now we'll go down here. Song title. Just type it in. So Ford Transit Connect. Boom. Now here. Do I have a featured artist to song title? This gets very tricky. If you have a featured artist, you're going to go here and type the name. So it's featuring Joe Schmo, right? If it's a feature. Now, if it's a collab, as in the Infinite Lamb Chop and Joe Schmo, that's considered a second artist slot. Very annoying, I'll be honest. I don't like that this is the way that stores do it. So keep in mind, if you have the musician account, and let's say you want to do a collab, you and your friend, Joe Schmo and Bob Smith, for example, it has to be a second artist name, which means you actually do need a Musicians Plus account. I know, very frustrating. I don't know why. I'm hoping this changes sometime in the future, which is why sometimes I've said to some artists, like, hey, if you're trying to do a collab and it's a genuine collab, you might have spent extra money to have more artists on your DistroKid account. If not, is there any way you could maybe have one of you guys being featured? Because that way it's kind of like a way to get a free artist slot in a sense. So I can go down here to a featured artist, and then maybe the next collab you guys do, the other one gets featured, right? Maybe you could do something like that, but that's the only annoying thing. Being honest, when it comes to you working with another artist is a situation. Now, I have a version here of, let's say it's a radio edit, a funkified version, summer version, let's say a VIP. A lot of my EDM artists out there know a VIP is when you kind of like remix your own song in a way to make it more unique, right? This is a song title preview, right? Make sure this is correct for Transit Connect, the Infinite Lamb Chop. Make sure your spelling's right, of course. Upload your audio file. Now, you want to make sure things are as uncompressed as possible. Basically, the highest possible quality you can. So, I think Wave is kind of the standard, right? For Transit right there. Wave. This kind of stuff, I would suggest not touching unless you know exactly what you're doing and you know what this means. For 99% of people out there, this is fine. Now, cover song. If this is a cover song, this is very, very important. If this is a cover song, you have to click yes and go down here. Now, you can release cover songs on DistroKid. You can put them on Spotify. Here's the catch. Two things. One, you have to fill out all this information, and you're going to be billed at $1 per month, $12 every year, because DistroKid has to do a lot of legal stuff to make that cover appear on Spotify and other places. Secondly, you cannot use any elements from the original song. So if I'm doing a cover of, I don't know, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, I can't use some of the vocals or the drums or the guitar from the original. I have to fully recreate the song in its entirety as a cover song, and I'm legally allowed to do that and release it. But I can't, like, say, take some of the guitar licks because I can't play it myself and then sample them in, like, not allowed, right? But you can do cover songs. Next, your songwriter real name. This is important. I know I've had some people be like, hey, Mark, do I really have to put my real name? Do I have to? Yes. This is very important for pros, which we'll talk about later down the line. So Mark Richard Rachero. Explicit lyrics. This is really interesting, I'm going to be honest. If you have an album, and one track on that album has the F-bomb, so technically, by definition, it's explicit. The entire album is considered explicit. Now, the issue is, and this is what's kind of tough when it comes to like creativity and everything and whatnot, where there are some stores and some services out there, some countries even, that will ban your release if it's explicit. Keep that in mind. So I know a lot of artists like to swear because, of course, it's a creative thing when it comes to making music. But if you can, try to avoid it if you can. That's just the word if. So, for example, if I'm doing an EDM song and it builds and it goes, everybody effing bounce, but it actually drops the F-bomb, maybe I could just say, literally, everybody effing bounce. Or I said, everybody, I don't know, I could think of maybe a different name. Because once your track or your release is considered explicit, it does hinder the places it can go. Like I said, it's really annoying the way they do this, that, like I said, you have a 10-track album. All the other songs are very G-rated, no issue. But one of them has one F-bomb, all of them are now considered explicit. Kind of annoying, just keep that in mind. Is it a radio edit, instrumental, preview clip, start time? So these, again, some of these I'm skipping over because they're pretty straightforward. This is mind-blowingly important. So, when it comes to the preview clip start time, what this means is, if someone goes to preview your song, what start time do they listen to? You want to make sure you have a good timestamp. So I might suggest listening to the song, being like, oh, at the 24-second mark, that's a good time. The reason why is when someone goes to potentially use your song on TikTok for their video, the preview they're going to hear is the preview select. Do not let the streaming services decide. And this is a big way to have your music blow up on TikTok or Instagram, because as you can imagine, let's say someone goes to preview your song, and it's just the intro. Might be mid. But if you select, let's say, a custom time, like, let's say, the one, I don't know, like, here, I don't know, like, do this and then this. Let's say something like that, right? I'm just bringing something up, right, at that point. Now, And once I do that, just to, again, pick something random, so maybe do like this. I've not uploaded the song yet, so they're just kind of doing this. Like say it's the 2-minute and 10-second mark. Like say that's right before the drop happens. When someone goes to preview your song, this is what they're going to hear first, and it might be the most catchy part. And they're like, ooh, I like this. I'm going to use it. Make sure you spend time on this. A lot of artists overlook this. I think that's a big mistake. Track price, leave this. Next is Apple Music additional requirements. This is a new feature with Apple Music. I have to add in 2 credits. One, the performer. In this case, this is actually an AI song, being honest, so I'm going to put other instrument, because I didn't really, as a performer, other instrument is probably the best way to go, because I didn't really perform a lot of this. Producer, I'm going to go to engineer, because I engineered it, so I look at it like that. Mark the chair as well. Right? Next, I'm going to go down here. We're going to go to extras. I'm going to be blunt. I don't think any of these are worth it. The Beatport one is, which I already selected, so it doesn't exist here anymore. The Beatport one is, and I will say this, if you're not an EDM artist, but let's say you do hip-hop, never a bad idea, if let's say you're really trying to get your music out there, to put it on Beatport, because there are a lot of DJs who blend hip-hop with their records, or rock with, like, say, dubstep sets, for example, Only one here that makes some sense is Leave a Legacy, which means that if, let's say, your credit card doesn't go through, if, let's say, for whatever reason, your payment never happens ever again, your music will not be removed from stores. Now, in case you didn't know, DistroKid is a membership. If, let's say, for whatever reason, your payment does not go through, and you can't pay your DistroKid membership, your music will be taken down from stores. This is $29 for a single or $49 for an album. So if you're trying to get your best bang for your buck, so to speak, $49 for an album is the way to go. But this one I think could be worth it. If you're like, hey, I'm releasing 1 album a year, why not? The rest of these, being honest, I don't think are as worth it. And then lastly, you have to click these check boxes. Pretty straightforward. You can read these in fine detail if you want. Pretty straightforward here. And then you're going to see this. Record label, your artist name, the title of the record, the album artwork, right? Make sure this all looks good. Then I'm going to click continue. And once I do, it's going to upload the album artwork and the track. Now, at this point, there's going to be a few different steps in terms of you going from this, what we're doing right now, in terms of your release actually being released, which we'll talk about in a second. But once this gets uploaded, it's going to do this. Then it's going to go here to Mixia. This is a way for them to say, hey, do you want to enhance this track and master it? If your song's already mastered, which this one is, you're fine, right? I mean, being honest, I don't think this is as worth it. If, let's say, you've not properly mastered your track and everything, or let's say you don't know exactly how to approach this, you could try it out. For me, though, I don't think it is as worth it. For me personally, because I also master my own stuff. So, just want to say that. So, I'm then going to click Use My Originals. This is what I do. Click Continue. And then once I do, boom. Now, my music is officially uploaded and being sent out. Well, kind of. Let's talk about the releasing timeline. Now, this is the way it works. After you do this, like I just showed you, it's going to be reviewed by DistroKid. So on your DistroKid dashboard, there's going to be like a yellow dot next to it saying pending, meaning, all right, we're checking everything out. Is the album artwork okay? Is the song okay? Are there any things that are maybe glitched up that we didn't notice, right? So at this time, it's going to be processing. You're going to get 2 different responses. One is going to be a red dot. This means your release got rejected. There's a bunch of different reasons why it could be rejected. Really tough to say exactly, but one, it could be rejected. If that does happen, you then have to basically go back in, delete that release, re-upload it, and fix the problems that existed before. This is why I suggest, if you let's say you do want to have a release, let's say you're like, oh, I'm releasing my newest album on, I don't know, June 1st. I would suggest spending at least this kind of time doing this a few weeks in advance, because it can happen where, like, say, you go to upload it, it gets denied, you have to fix some problems, you never know. So if you do have like a very specific release date you want to have, make sure you do this more ahead of time to make sure everything looks good. And of course, you can do a custom release date if you want. Now, the second thing that's going to happen after that yellow dot exists in this processing is you're going to get the green light. You're going to get the green light, a green dot. You will also get an email in your inbox saying, hey, your album artwork processed correctly. Your song processed correctly. Once that happens, that means you're like, okay, your entire release is now packaged. It looks good. We're getting ready to send it to stores. Think of it like if you're sending a letter out, you check your letter, the letter looks good, you fold it up, put it in the envelope, lick the envelope, flattened it, put the stamp on, now it's ready. But it's not sent out yet. DistroKid make sure that everything looks good. And then at some point, it could be that day, it could be a few days later. I say anywhere between 1 and 3 business days, what will happen is Then they will send it out to stores. Now, at this point, it is fully sent out. But just like mail, it can sometimes take a little bit to get there. Now, I find it does depend store to store, and in most cases, I'd say places like YouTube Music, Instagram, and Facebook, it's usually instant. Also, Apple Music. It's almost instant. So once it gets sent out, it gets there immediately. So if, like, say it gets sent out, and it's like, hey, you're now live, you will also get an email about this. In about maybe 10 or 20 minutes, even 30 minutes, even instantly, you can check Apple Music, boom, your release is right there. Now, in the beginning, I do want to say, especially in the beginning, when, like, say, it's creating your artist accounts and everything, this might take a little bit longer, because in case you didn't know, when it comes to Apple Music, Spotify, Audio, Deezer, all these different platforms, you do this once. And like I showed you in the beginning, when it comes to the services, it gets sent out everywhere. And all these different platforms will automatically create an artist profile for you. You don't have to go to each one manually, which is very convenient. You just release it. All the stores will do everything for you. This is why this is, I'm not gonna lie, pretty seamless, pretty straightforward, and pretty easy, right, to do all this. Now at this point though, like I said, it might take a little bit, but I'd say sometimes same day for some of these platforms. They will have to create your artist account, like I said. Spotify, which I know is one of the biggest ones right now, probably about 2 or 3 days. I find it's like, if I release it on a Monday, it will usually be live on Spotify on Tuesday or Wednesday. So Spotify is, I find, if anything, one of the bigger lags, or one that takes a bit longer. Some of the stores say, hey, sometimes it might take up to 7 days. So keep that in mind, especially for my beginning artists out there, being honest. I think sometimes they get too message happy, too fast. Be like, oh, check out my newest release. Check out my newest release. Wait a little bit, because you don't want to send somebody, the hyperfollow link, which I'll talk about in a second, or a link here or there, or even the name of your song, and someone goes, hey, I actually went to Spotify, it's not there yet. I went to Audio, it's not there yet. Give it about a week. I'd say once your album, your single, your EP, your release in general, does get actually released, give it about a week for it to be everywhere. Number 5, the payment timeline. So how do you get paid? How does this all work? Now, like I said, way in the beginning of this video, of course, by this point, you should have entered in your tax information. That's pretty much the first step. Welcome to life. As Benjamin Franklin said, the 2 things that are certain are death and taxes. In this case, we're talking about the second one, taxes, right? Now, when it comes to DistroKid, it is at the mercy, keep this in mind, and this is kind of important for a lot of instances. You're at the mercy to the stores. DistroKid is in the middle. Like I said, if, like, say, I write a letter, I give it to USPS. Well, USPS is kind of like the middleman. Then they send it out to, like, say, the person's house, for example, right? So when it comes to DistroKid, they package your release and then send it to stores. Now, here's the way the payment works, which is, I'm not gonna lie, very annoying. I'll be blunt. I'm gonna be honest with you, very transparent, as I've been this entire video. Let's say release your exact release, album, single, EP, whatever, on January 1st. And let's say it's on in all stores on January 1st. And on January 1st, all your friends stream it, download it, buy it, all that kind of stuff. It takes, on average, about 2 to 3 months from, let's say, the money that you would have made on January 1st, or not would have made, but did make on January 1st, to appear in your banking section on DistroKid. That is a huge lag. Now, in the beginning, it's going to feel like forever, right? 2 to 3 months is a long time, because let's say you sign up with DistroKid, you then release it. You wait a little bit for it to be in stores. You're like, okay, now it's in stores. Then you start promoting it. Then people start streaming it. From the time they start streaming it, 2 to 3 months later, then that money will appear in your banking section. So in the beginning, it might take like forever. But of course, once you get that ball rolling, as you can imagine, like, I'm now making money almost every day because I'm making money from 3 months ago. And then tomorrow, I make money from 3 months ago prior to that, right? If you got what I'm saying. But in the beginning, this can feel like forever. Now, what happens is this. In about 2 to 3 months after that stream or download took place, that money will appear in your banking section. Now, right now at the time of this video, it does change based off DistroKid's terms. Right now at the time of this video, you need minimum $7 in order to withdraw that money from your account. So if you have $5, can't withdraw it. I will say it does roll over. You don't lose money, but you might have to wait a bit longer. And as we all know, streaming doesn't pay that much, and stuff like that. So keep in mind, when it comes to streams, Spotify, for example, on average, pays about 1/3 of a cent per every stream. So for every 3 streams on average on Spotify, you get 1 cent. So you do need a lot of streams. Now, some platforms like, Audio and Deezer and Tidal pay a little bit more. Some platforms pay a bit less, right? Depending on the platform. So each platform pays a little bit, but keep in mind, some platforms pay as little as 1/10 of a cent, which is wild, per stream. Some of them pay almost as high as a cent per stream, which is actually a good amount, right? So it does depend upon the platform. So every platform is a little bit different. Keep that in mind. Now, once you reach that $7 threshold or more, you can then click withdraw earnings. You can withdraw it via PayPal, direct deposit to your bank account, wire transfer. You can get a physical check. Each one has its own specific terms. I think direct deposit, if you can do it, is the easiest, most efficient, just being honest. Now, here's where things get a little more annoying. I know, but I want to be honest with you. It takes between 1 and 14 business days once you hit withdraw in order for that money to be in your account. So keep in mind, the stream happens on January 1st. 2 or 3 months go by, let's say by March 1st, that money's in your account. Then, let's say you have to wait a little bit for it to get to $7. Then it does. Then you click withdraw. Then you have to wait about 1 to 14 business days for then it to finally appear in your bank account, and then you can use that money for whatever you want. So yes, the process does take, I think, a little bit longer than you'd like, especially in the beginning. But like I said, once that ball gets rolling, it'll be kind of streamlined, right? Now, in terms of how long does it actually take for that money to be in your account, I find for me, like say if I withdraw it on a Monday, by, I'm going to say Wednesday or Thursday, it's in my account. I think they just say 14 days, because 1 to 14 business days is a bit of a spread. I think they just say 2 weeks, just in case. Just in case. But being honest, it's usually about 3 to 4 days, and that money is in your account. So now at this point, you're releasing music, you're crushing it, you're getting streams, that money's appearing in your banking section. In case you didn't know, there are a lot of features to DistroKid. And I'm going to show you this here. If I go here, boom, I have all these different goodies. Now, I'm going to split this up into 2 different sections on this video. The first one I talk about is promo goodies. These are some tools, some free, some paid, that allow you to promote your music however you want. Now, I'm going to go through these kind of quick, though. Some of these I'm going to skip over because I don't think they're as worth it. I'm going to be blunt. These, I say avoid for now, being honest. Unless you want to use them specifically. But on the purpose of this video, I don't want to make this video too long. But these have some features between them. But I'm going to go here first. Get heard now. These, I'm not going to lie, are to get onto playlists and everything. These can be useful. You can check them out. These are definitely like separate videos in of itself. I personally don't use these, just being honest. Next, I'm going to go here, promote yourself. This is the big one I want to talk about. So first off, hyperfollow. Now what this does, I'm going to go here, is it allows you to send one link to somebody and they can view any song that they want. So I'm going to go down to my recent release under my actual artist, it's supposed to be my AI artist, which is Waymo. Or is it? Oh, here it is, Waymo. Right, so if I click this, this is how it looks. So when someone goes to this, they can preview the song, right? And they have these links right here. I can customize this if I want, but you can see, which is kind of useful. Let's say someone says, hey, I don't have Spotify, but I have Apple Music. Boom. I have iTunes. I want to buy it. Customizable here. I can adjust things, on the page however I want. And what's kind of cool about this, like I said, is this one link for everything. This, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to share your music. Like, let's say you want to text it to your friend. Let's say you want to post it on Twitter. Let's say you want to link to it on your Instagram description or post it on Facebook. However you want to do it. This, I think, is the best way to go because that way you have a bunch of different options depending on who the person is and what they prefer. Next is mini videos. These are pretty awesome. It takes a little bit to find the right one sometimes and everything. Like, this one's kind of funny to me. The fry's kind of funny. But let's say I'm going to do Waymo again. I feel like the fire is a little too aggressive for the Waymo song. Wait, what is that? Is that just like a light thing? Oh, this is Jack. Oh, so that's more of a Halloween one. I'll just do... the money one's kind of funny. Oh, you know what? This one kind of... Atlanta. You know what? This one, I feel like kind of gives Waymo vibes. Because, Waymo's a self-driving car. They did like a video about. So I'll do this, right? So I can do this. And I'll just do, the song, the announcement, out now. I will say this too. DistroKid automatically appears there. Just keep in mind, trim the song chart. I'll just leave it here so I can do generate mini video. Now what's going to happen is this is going to generate. Now these are the different ones I've generated in the past, right? And I'll talk about some of these a little bit later in this video, or actually in a second. I'm going back here as this is processing, right? To show you. I also have meme video generator. Now, when I click meme video generator, it's actually going to go to this page in terms of my videos, and I can click one of these. These are kind of like meme-y things from different TV shows or movies or whatever. So I love the Marcel one from Friends. As you can see, I've used that before down here, where it takes this clip from Friends when Marcel the monkey plays a song on the radio, and it automatically put your song in it, right? So I did one here for my record, Mr. Beast. And so when I open this one up, you can see that I'm just going to kind of scroll through it, not to play the whole thing. But this is great for like Instagram promo, TikTok promo, where this whole scene of him playing the record scene, right? And then it's actually going to be my song.
Welcome to my house.
Right. So what's kind of cool about this is like a funny kind of meme generated thing. Now going back here because it just processed, we're going to go to the Atlanta video. We're going to view it. So it looks like this. Right? Pretty cool. What's kind of cool about this as well is, like I said, it's completely free. Next, we have Visi Video Generator. This just costs money. This creates a visualizer that dances to your music. I gotta be blunt, these, in my opinion, are kind of expensive. So I click this one, for example, and I go to, like, say, Waymo, right? And let's say I want to do a horizontal video to put on YouTube, for example, on my YouTube channel. You can see $9. I hate to say it, I don't think it's as worth it. Like, it is cool having that visualizer that dances to your music and everything, but for $9, kind of pricey, I'll be honest. And then lastly, promo cards. These are static images, so I'm going to do Waymo again, just to show you. I'm going to go here, go to generate promo cards. And these are different, as you can see, images I can put, like this one's kind of cool. I actually kind of like the synthwave. And if I click it, you can see here, this is how it looks. This could be like a static image on your Instagram or wherever you want to put it. Next up, number 7, special access goodies. So if I go down here, I'm gonna go to special access, and you can see here, this is the way you can get a TikTok artist account. So like a verified account on TikTok when it comes to you being an official artist. I can also get Apple Music for artists, which gives you a lot of back-end stuff in terms of the streams, demographics, and a lot more. Same thing with Tidal Artist Home, YouTube Official Artist Channel if you want to get a YouTube OAC. In terms of getting that cool little note check mark that says you're verified on YouTube. You can connect to AudioMac, RIAA Gold and Platinum monitoring. This is only for the Ultimate plan, but this is not really that important in my opinion. And then lastly, I actually skipped over it by accident, Spotify for Artists, right? Spotify for Artists is one of the most popular, special access programs when it comes to you being able to see all your analytics for Spotify, the in-depth streams. You can also customize your artist profile and so much more. Now, continuing on, enhance your music, not really that worth it in my opinion. The Spotify Canvas generator can be good if you want to have that mini video that kind of loops on Spotify. Lyrics, if you want to add lyrics, and some credits in here. These I don't really use as much. Protect your music. This is one big thing I want to say. These two actually, DistroLock, Page Defender, not the craziest. I don't really use them, but Vault is one you want to focus on. Every single time you upload music on DistroKid, you automatically have it stored in the cloud for free. So you can see here, I have 59 gigs, which is a lot, of music. So I can go to any release I've ever uploaded, download the song, download the album artwork. I can see the ISRC code or UPC code. So take Piano Bounce. This is a track I released in 2015 that I took down because I didn't think it was that good. You can see here, this is, if I click this is the crazy image of me. This is actually me playing piano in Boston. I had one of my friends take this. And then you can see the release date. I can see the UPC or the ISRC if I want to. I can download the song and listen to it. So it's kind of cool that any release you have on DistroKid is automatically saved forever on the cloud. And then lastly, help when needed. These, being honest, not really as useful. The Spotify URI and Apple ID Looker Upper can be useful, but for the most part, the ones I already showed you are the best ones to use. And now, a bonus point comes down to marketing and money. First off, a lot of people ask me, how much money can you make releasing music on DistroKid? It's tough to say. I know you hate that answer, but it depends how big your music gets. It depends on how many streams it gets, how many downloads. It is near impossible to answer, being honest, because it depends on how the song does. It depends on the numbers and the analytics. Now, you can Google, like, how much do I get paid per stream on Spotify and other places? Like I said earlier, Spotify on average pays about a third of a cent per stream. So for every 3 streams, you get a cent. But it does depend platform to platform. Now, talking about the second point is marketing. Because after you do all this, like I showed you, you create the DistroKid account, you have everything ready, you released it, it's doing well, you know how to use the goodies and the promos and the special access features. The truth is, other people want to know, and I've been asked this, does DistroKid market or promote your music? No. They really just put it on the stores. Think of it like if I'm creating a new sports drink to rival Gatorade. Like, yeah, 7-Eleven might put it on the shelf. That does not mean they're going to market it or promote it, right? Very similar when it comes to DistroKid. This is why, at this point, once everything's live, your music is in all these spots, you want to start marketing it. I think right now in this day and age, one of the biggest mistakes I see beginning musicians take is to think, oh, I made a great song, which it could be. I made a banger, really well-made record. People will find it. In this day and age, it is very difficult. There's a lot of luck. And I got to be honest, you should spend just as much time marketing your music, if anything more, than making music itself. And I know a lot of musicians do not want to hear that, but that's just part of being a musician now. In this day and age, you have to be wearing a lot of hats, social media marketing, how to do promo, and a lot more. Which is why in the description below, I have a bunch of videos all about music marketing, about how to get your music out there and get it heard more.